Ça y est, mon Vince, on y est, c'est le bonjour. Regarde ça. Allez, on y va. Allez, parti.
Ready for the second one. Oh yes! Yes!
That was pretty extreme. Isn't it amazing what humans can do? There are around 7.6 billion people on this earth, and you can find them adapted to every environment. Humans have even been to space. But are we alone in our diversity? Are we alone in our ability to adapt to the many extremes our planet provides? Today we're here to talk about a whole group of organisms called extremophiles. This name literally comes from the Latin and Greek words for extreme and love. Humans might be able to live life to the extreme, but these organisms can live life in the extreme.
Extremophiles are bacteria and archaea that are able to thrive and exist in extreme conditions that are typically unsustainable for life. Discovery and interest in these organisms began in the 1960s with the discovery of thermophiles in the hot springs at Yellowstone National Park. Since that time, scientific and industrial interest has grown at an exponential rate.
Extremophiles are adapted to the environments that we, as humans, consider extreme. Many times they survive by producing compounds such as certain salts and proteins that counter the effect these extreme environments would normally have on their physiology.
For example, we mentioned that there are organisms that live in Yellowstone's hot springs. These hot springs can reach temperatures up to 100 degrees Celsius, 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Living at temperatures that high would typically cause the denaturation of proteins throughout your body and cause your DNA to start to break down. Thermophiles can withstand these effects by producing certain salts and nucleotides that raise their melting temperature.
Similarly, psychophiles who live in extremely cold environments, even as low as negative 18 degrees Celsius, which is approximately 0 degrees Fahrenheit, produce proteins that lower their freezing point so that they can survive in such locations.
Here in Utah's own Great Salt Lake live halophiles, which thrive in environments with high salt concentrations. When the concentration of salt is high enough, the water within an organism's cells dissipates through the cell wall, dehydrating the whole organism. Halophiles produce potassium ions and other compounds to balance out the osmotic pressure in their environment so they don't dry out.
Extremophiles are pretty cool, but they are more than just a curiosity or a side attraction. New science is focusing on making them center stage in the industrial and commercial world.
Deep Star is a massive multi-industry endeavor to explore the oceans in search of good business opportunities. These include searching for crude oil, minerals, and the many biological factors that can be harnessed to meet the demands of industry today. Recently, a Deep Star mission traveled down to the bottom of the Marianas Trench, the deepest place on Earth, in search of extremophiles. There, they found psychrophiles and barophiles with some very lucrative abilities. The bacteria were not only living in extreme conditions in terms of temperature or depth, but somehow their favorite foods are toxins. They love carbon-based molecules like benzene and kerosene, which are deadly to humans at high levels, and very unpleasant below that. What makes these bacteria so attractive to businessmen is that they could have the potential to drastically decrease cost and waste in producing materials that usually require massive amounts of water to produce. Since these magnificent creatures can process dangerous but necessary compounds, they could potentially save millions, if not billions, of dollars each year. The attributes that help make extremophiles useful in industrial conditions also make them likely candidates in the search for extraterrestrial life. Despite what you may think, life outside our planet is most likely not the little green aliens we sometimes imagine it would be. Rather, single-celled organisms seem to be more likely.
In January of 2013, a team of 50 scientists drilled a half-mile hole through the Antarctic ice above Lake Williams and retrieved samples of the lake water and sediment along with hundreds of dishes containing organisms found in the Antarctic lake. Isolated from most nutrient sources, sunlight, and warmth, these microbes are most likely chemolithotropes, which rely on inorganic substances for nourishment.
In a separate study, scientists discovered microbes living in very small cracks and channels in Antarctic sea ice that are caused by the high salinity of frozen ocean water. Both examples suggest the possibility of life hidden under that ice found on other planets in our universe, and even as close as Jupiter's moon Europa. Recent studies show that some extremophiles might even be able to survive the extreme temperatures and exposure to radiation of interplanetary travel. Yes, that means that these amazing creatures might even be able to explain the origins of life on Earth.
So there you have it, the most extreme organisms on this Earth. We find them in some of the most extreme environments around. They survive because of their unique ability to produce chemical compounds to alter the environment they live in. As industrial applications of extremophiles become more prevalent, we'll begin to see their influence in the oil we put in our cars or the shirts we decide to wear in the morning. We might even find life outside of our planet. These amazing examples of biodiversity are at the front line of science and the extremities of life.
When we think of conditions needed in order to live comfortable lives, not like this one. I'm sorry, I had to put that in there. Okay, we could do it again.
Is this amazing organism. That's hard to say.
Both examples suggest the possibility of life hidden under the ice found on a... Dang it. I'm just going to turn you off for now.